Thanks for tuning in today. I'm John Holmes, the owner of Holmes Hobbies, and we're just going to do a little update on the hobby house today. So it's been maybe a couple of months by now, I guess, since the last time I did a YouTube update, and I figured what better way to get back into it than a hobby house update. So we're going to kind of do a behind the scenes today, kind of show you what the media room looks like at this point, show you the yard, just what we've been working on. So we'll start out, this is the media room. This is normally where we would do the videos, basically, at this screen. It's a black screen or a green screen or a white screen behind us. We don't have the backlight turned on at the moment here, but this is where most of the magic happens. We got our lights kind of set up in a way that makes me look a little more flattering, I think, than most overhead lights would. So that's kind of nice. Now let's take a little gander around the room here. On the opposite side, it's not nearly as fancy looking, of course, but this is our music studio essentially. So we've got a couple of keyboards set up. On the far end, I've got my turntables set up there. And then if we come around to the business end, my friend has a Roland DJ-808, which is pretty cool. Kind of a beat machine combined with a digital turntable system. And then we also have another keyboard. This is my buddy's keyboard, Korg M3. Pretty cool little setup for sure. So we just kind of have fun in the hobby house, as it should be. Doing hobbies, making music on this side, making videos on the other side of the room. Well, I think, yeah, let's go check out the yard now. Right, we're out here in the front yard, and as you can see, the landscaping has actually grown in quite a bit over the past year or so. I planted some somethings, man, I don't know what these guys are, abrevieties, I think, and then a juniper there in the kind of center. Juniper's kind of gotten hit a little bit. Having the plants elevated on the rocks like this is kind of hard to take care of them until they get established. It dries out a lot faster than the rest. It's pretty much full sun right here, and the rocks take a lot of heat. But they're doing all right. The abrevieties or aboravites, I don't know how to say it. They're doing very well. Chinese juniper had some problems with the roots kind of getting exposed just because of how elevated it is, and the roots were a little wonky, so that kind of hurt it a little bit, but it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And yeah, all the tall grasses grew in real nice over the springtime, and got a huge bunch of mint over here. You probably can't see it from there, but there's a big old clump of mint. And then I just kept extending the landscaping out pretty much down the street into the neighbor's yard, because he was into it, and I wanted to make it look more or less cohesive and have the whole rain garden kind of pull from where the drainage was all coming this way. So it's really working out. Also pulled some other plants over from my house because we're doing some landscaping over there, and I didn't want to just throw away plants. So I pulled them over here, and now it's super busy looking, and there's a lot of plants, but it's been fun. It's what the hobby house is for, just kind of having fun out here and enjoying something that's a little different pace, and that would be doing some landscaping, because I've never really done some landscaping before. And don't tell anybody, but there's a lot of rocks to crawl on in here. But if anybody asks, this is landscaping, right? Cool. All right, I think we're gonna walk into the backyard and check out some back there. All right, so we're in the backyard of the hobby house. And as you can see, the fence line's getting ripped out. You probably haven't noticed the neighbor's house in any of the previous videos, because there was just such a huge mass of, let's see, we had a mixture of Asian honeysuckle, which is really invasive in Missouri, winter creeper, which is a terrible, terrible vine that it'll get that big around and basically turn into a tree if you let it. You can, well, I guess we can't see it on the fence line anymore, but it'll get in between boards, that winter creeper will, and just pop a fence line completely apart. Really aggressive, and it's all over because one of the neighbors planted it and let it get out of hand about 50 years ago. And just all sorts of stuff. 2 fence lines that had grown in and were basically being supported by nothing but plants at this point, because it's so old that all of the fence posts had completely deteriorated, almost 100%. There's, you know, a couple left. Here's one good example. Here's a fence post that was left, just barely hanging on. Looks like it actually may have been like a tree at one point, but yeah, so me and the neighbor are working on that together so that we can get it cleared out enough to start mowing again and start getting a handle on some of the wildness back here. That's really about the only plans on this side. Just a little variety to the work. I'm having to come in with a 6-inch pry bar and actually pry the fence out of the ground, and got a Sawzall so that I could saw all of these large plants off without ruining my saw, essentially, without ruining my chainsaw. And yeah, so a little bit here, a little bit there. Early in the morning times like today, it's nice and cool. It's been really hot and humid here in Missouri. We've been looking at 95 to 100 degree temperatures and 60 to 80% humidity, which is pretty impressive. But today I think it's going to be mid 80s and 40, 50% humidity, so not so bad. A good day for working out in the yard. We're going to probably hit this up for maybe an hour or 2 hours tops. Usually shut it down by about 10 a.m. when the sun starts peeking over all the trees. And yeah, you can see the huge pile back there of all the brush that we have cut. It's starting to get into pretty large proportions. But yeah, it's starting to kind of shape up in the backyard. I'm getting to a point with the front yard I don't need to work on anymore. The city hadn't bothered me at all about it, so I can start focusing my efforts on the backyard. We had a crawl this past weekend. Let's see, 7 folks, 8 folks, I guess, including myself, came out and crawled in the backyard. We just kind of made some fun out of it. Didn't do any scorekeeping this time. Just kind of, had some fun like the hobby house is for. So that's about it for today, I would say. That pretty much covers the hobby house and what we've been doing around here. Just a little bit of yard work and using it for what it is. If you have any questions, or hey, if you got any suggestions for the hobby house, I'm pretty open on it. So give me a comment down below if you got something to say. Otherwise, I'll just see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.